Hello guys, how are you all? So today we have started come start this video with this chapter 11. You were searching of chapter 10th video, and I would like to tell you that please don't read chapter 10 of the anthropology nothing percent because that is not relevant for your syllabus. That is for those who are doing masters of anthropology or for PhD, because that doesn't belong to UPSC syllabus. So that's why just leave that chapter. And I just came from 11th chapter. Now we only three chapters are left: 11, 12, 13, and this will complete. This playlist will complete very soon, and you will go for the next book. Okay, so let's start the video without any wait. And if you are not subscribe my channel, please subscribe my channel. Press that bell icon so that you will get notification of my all next videos. And please like, share, and subscribe my channel. As how much we can share, just please share my videos so that so many people can get these videos. And if you are feeling any doubt, any improvement need in these videos, please comment section so that I can improve in the next videos. And I will make sure that I'm 100% sure that you can see in my check in my comments that I make each and reply of each and comment. I never ignore any comment, whether it is negative, whether it is positive. Okay, so let's start video. Chapter 11: Material Culture and Technology. Technology of food procurement and food preservation of food. Quest for food or the physical survival has been major area of concern for humanity. The concern of health and survival most have inspired men to go better and better technology and food procurement. This concern fought equally among the pre-agricultural societies as well as the present post-industrial societies. Population explosion and the related problems, especially among the third world countries, have also shifted the whole problem when food went into focus. Man has always being dependent on three resources of survival: physical environment, culture for population. The purely hunting, gathering groups, and just depends totally on the mercy and the boundaries of the nature, and the food producing society of the cultivators who consumers, consumers of food, cooked food, do not show total dependence on the nature. The development of new technology of food production and procurement stimulate the emergence of more valuable, that is called the food procurement tools, where the more valuable and developed societies, but it is possible only when the society produces enough to feed every mouth. Cultivation of production or production of food is a later innovation. For most part of the existence, man remained a food gathered hunter. During prehistoric time, man was totally food gathered hunter. And some contemporary simple societies have then been like this: that food gathering societies gather edible roots, fruits, marine products, do hunting of any mammals, and fishing and fowling, as well as consume many insects and reptiles. So food gatherings and hunting techniques were vary from region to region and from society to society. According to the local government conditions, the ecological adaptation provide basis for cultural variations. That's why the customs, radiation, and value system of different societies are not alike. Ecology, or the study of the interrelationships of the organism and their environment, helps us to have important insight into the type of food, technology of food procurement, consumption, etc. But at the same time, consumption of a particular type of food does not totally depend on the climate or the physical environment. Water can be converted into the ice and consumed, or thatched huts may be built on a snow-clad mountains, but it requires a fairly high degree of technological sophistication. Yet at the same time, it may be stated that the methods of food procurement are by and large in accordance with the local resources, but these methods do not determine the totality of the culture. During the pre-agriculture times, man used to roam about indefinite territory in quest for food. Thus, nomadism is may still as a preserved in case of surviving gathered in hunting societies. Among the noteworthy food gathering hunting tribes who still depend upon the primitive way of food procurement come Arunta and Arunda of Australia, the Australian Aborigines, and the Nachuka and the Quaticool of Colombia, Blackfoot of North America, and Eskimo of the Siberia, Bushmen, Hottentot of Kalahari district deserts from Africa, and Semang and the Sakai from Malaysia, Ved from Sri Lanka and India's Chenchu, Andhra Pradesh, and Kadir, Kerala, Birhar, Razi, Uttar Pradesh, and that's tribes of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Many of the such tribes are living in difficult terrain and they also face a lot of problem in getting food. Besides the typically food gathering hunting societies, one may have across several food producing societies, and they could restoring or to gathering of to supplement their food requirement. Among the Indian tribes, Bhil, Oran, Munde, Bhotia, Nagata, Tharu, Bhoska, Asur, and a host of others, despite being expert cultivators, go for the gathering edible roots and fruits, money, mahua, and several other minor major forest produce. Human societies living by a food gatherings and hunting did not possess containers or utensils, hence storing the surplus, if any, of for the winters always poses a lot of problems. The tools and implements at the disposal of the gatherers hunters were so crude that the output in the terms of quantity of food produced was usually to merge in proportion to the input involved in that time and labor. Gradually, man developed this technology, new tools and implements were developed, and the existing ones were refined and improvised. Thus, the crude hand axes were choppers gave away to the blade and flake tools, and then micro lathes provided him to extra edge. But the digging stick always remained, and then he also evolved throwing weapons or missiles like throwing club, bow and arrow, javelin and spear, and harpoons for fishing, noose and traps for hunting, and so on. Gathering and hunting activities live in the live in the bands or small groups and maintain the conscientious ties. Kinship plays the most important part in the social structure, and although they led us nomadic existence, but the range of mobility had territorial constraints. With the advance of civilization, the land-hungry peasantry started pushing such simple societies into more interior and relatively inaccessible areas with scant resources. Wherever state-sponsored welfare schemes made their impact felt, these simple societies either took to new economy and technology or simply became victims of depopulation. The existence gathering hunting societies of the world used throwing weapons missiles for hunting. Besides these, they also used nose nets and traps and pets like dogs and hawks, etc. In hunting expedition, pet panthers and hawks were used to the Rajputana region of India, while several Central Asian societies were used pet hawks in hunting and the fowling. The Santhals, the Khasis, and the tribes of Midnapur and used pet dogs for hunting, and the Kyrgyz and Tungu tribes of Central Asia keep ferocious dogs to who help them in the hunting expeditions. So nets of various types of nooses and traps were also used for different human groups. Such nooses and traps may be divided into two types. Such nooses which are laid on the ground at the target animals are forced to tread over them and they get trapped. So this technique of prevalent is East Africa and Egypt, and that's the Dayak of the Borneo resort to the technique while hunting for the deer. And the practice of the catching birds has also been a part for many gathering hunting economies of the world. One of the popular techniques of catching birds is to spread some adhesive material over a wooden sheet or any other thing and that broadcast food grains around it. Tempted by the food grains, the birds come down and rest their food over the adhesive ants are the trap. The Santhals call this technique of the Latha and the Lodha Adhakati. The Bunas of Bengal was also used to survive some of the times. Rural groups used heuristics or surfaces to trap the birds, and the automatic noose traps who have also been in vogue in the different parts of the world. And among such traps are the pit traps, noose traps, wheel traps, transfixing traps, and case traps have been most popular. Among the Indian tribes, the Naga and the Gond, the Santhal, Oryang, and the Bayaga, etc. Which experts in these types of hunting techniques. Fishing has also been an important aspect of gathering hunting economy. The practice of fishing through the elaborate techniques may be traced back to the Upper Paleolithic times, especially the Mediterranean culture. Various types of harpoons and hooks rods bear testimony in this fact. Among the simple varieties, various techniques of fishing have been in a way depending upon the local environmental conditions. Some of the prevalent fishing techniques were the fishing in the hands, fishing in the by the by poisoning, fishing by the hook and rod, and fishing by the stopping of the flow of water over a patch of land, fishing by weapons, fishing by nets, fishing by trained birds, fishing by noose and traps, etc. So among the Indian tribes, Jimar, Tharu, Bhosa, Buna, Garo, Khasi, Oragan, Mund, Santhas, Bayaga, Chenchu, etc. The fishermen communities of Cambodia, Indonesia, Thailand, one of the users that use one of the other of the above mentioned the above techniques of fishing. Initially, man using to consume all his food, including the flesh, raw. When he became familiar with the fire and learned the art of fire making, he developed the habit of consuming the cooked food. And the later on, the making of the food is tastier than mixing vegetables and spices. The evidence indicated that initially man resorted to roasting the and the boiling of his food. Here are all which I have told you. The steps and to make the cook the figs and they to his traps to his nets to for the fishes, trapping of the fishes. Here, the different types of varying techniques of cooking food depending upon their beliefs and available material and local environmental conditions. For example, the Bruno of the Bengal feed rice and spice to be hunter's wife, and then roast its later slated in the stomach when and consumer spice rices along with its meat. So several other tribes boil the meat instead of roasting it. Significantly, the number of tribes know that how to prolong the life of food for safe consumption. Many of coastal tribes keep eggs, etc., in the sand pits and cover them in the moisture and constant evaporation keep the atmosphere cool, thus fighting against decomposition. In several cases, the paste of plants and having a preservative value in the mix with the food, while among the many other salts and the other such materials used to delay with the process of decomposition. Many has made a long journey from these simple methods to use these deep features and highly effective chemical preservatives. Fire and fire making techniques. The use of fire is almost as old as humanity. Many learned as many things such as the nature of fire is one of them. Though it can be not be said that certainty is one of them where actively men started using fire, but it can be stated that without fear of the contradiction, that right from the beginning fire has occupied a very important place in man's life. Prehistorians are of the view that man definitely had the knowledge of fire during the Middle Paleolithic. Eruption of volcanoes, lightning, and the eruption of sparks as a result of friction between the trees and their branches must have been given the idea of fire. Jungle fire must have demonstrated the scarcity of capacity of fire, and this aspect of the use of fire proved to be a boon for a man for scaring away and the ferocious animals. So fire must have been used for years, first as a medium of self-defense, later on it used to keep the body warm in the face of glaciations, and further then it was used for cooking food, so especially roasting meat, especially for roasting meat and boiling edible fruits and fruits or wild varieties of cereals. That's come in preservation of fire. Preservation of fire was also the first step towards gaining control over fire, and once man became the convinced of the multifarious use of fire, he learned how to make fire and probably through the process of friction. Some of the available evidences suggest that the early fire making techniques were complex, but gradually man, on the basis of his efforts and experiences, developed similar techniques. Initially, what happened that fire was not meant for comfort and luxury, but as means survival. So later on, fire became a part of religious rituals, and in several parts of the world, fire was and still is used for sacred object for worship and invoking blessings. Gods and goddesses of fire has been a part of our folklores and mythology. So Lois was view beast of the perhaps the other no other element separates the man from other animals than fire, while some other regard fire as the divinity of the culture. Archaeologists and other of the view that man developed the artificial fire making techniques during the Neolithic among the several primitive societies. The following four fire making techniques have been prevalent: fire making by blow, fire making in friction, fire making by compression of air, fire making by convergence of sun rays. So the first technique involves a blow of any hard material like rock over another similar material. Several scholars are of the view that man might have learned this technique from the natural phenomena, but Gordon Chile Oakley that Wheeler and the other hold the strong view of that man has just idea of the technique while fabricating this early stone tools, but through applying the blows of chipping. In this technique, by large piece of stone is put on the ground surrounded by any of the such inflammable materials as cotton, dry leaves, etc. Now a smaller piece of stone is stuck in the giving rise of sparks, in turn sets the cinder on fire. The use of stone has been popular in this technique among the Indian tribes, the hilly tribes of Uttar Pradesh practice in it call it the Agila and Agachand, and while the Santhal of Bihar call it the Chakmori. Several tribal groups and peasants of a part of societies, the part of Soviet Union, Malaysia, Burma, Philippines, East Borneo, Tibet still make use of this technique. Second technique is that the friction technique versus several combinations when pieces of rocks and woods and bamboo or any metals are good against each other. It generates heat. If the friction is further fastened and speeded up, it gives the rise to the sparks. This principle has given the rise to a number of fire making techniques in the fire drill system into wooden placed on each other horizontally, vertically twitting. And the resultant friction gives to the spark, which is received by the some tinder material like dried up grass or twigs, and the fire is produced. Several types of paprika, Ved of Sri Lanka, some American Indian tribes practice the technique of fire making. An improved version of the former is known as the bow drill technique, and is a bow is used to whose sting holds a piece of wood and which is rotated sharply over the another piece of wood, and that with the circular movement of bow, it generates the heat and the then spark and the tinder catches the fire. It is considered as an improvement in the sense that it saves the palm and the getting burned. The job is done by the bow instead. This technique has been prevalent among the Eskimos and the North Siberians. Another important technique is a pump drill technique, and that's make an improvement over bow drill technique. There's a wooden fly wheel is used as a base for the free stick is fixed. A crossbar is hung over it and with the help of strings by twirling the stick, and the strings are wound up, and later on the strings are allowed of the unwind. Thus the stick starts revolving, and it has been quite popular among the Iraqis and the Melanians and Polynesians and the hills of India. This technique is basing on the rolling of the two pieces of wood are used. One piece is moved back and forth over the other like a saw, and thus the friction sparks to be produced. In the bamboo growing regions, the pieces of bamboo used instead of the small logs of wood. Australian Aborigines and the primitive types of Philippine islands, some Burmese groups, and then the Nagas of India have been using the fire making techniques. Fire making by compression of air is based on the principle that heat may be generated by the when gas is compressed. It is popularly known as the compression of air by the first fire piston. In this technique, fire piston is used, which consists of hollow metallic cylinder. One of the horse or metal cylinder, one open end of contain a closely fitted piston. The cylinder has a provision of separation of the lower end of accommodated piece of tinder. By forcing the piston of the bottom of cylinder has compressed, resulting generation of heat and to ignite the under. This fire making technique has been fairly widespread among the many simple varieties of South Asian, especially among the Kachins and the Shans of the Burman inhabitants of Java born in Indonesia. Convergence of sun rays over a point generates a lot of heat, which is in turn gives rise to smoke and fire. Children producing a fire by converging the sun rays through a magnifying glass over a tinder in its common sight. Concave lenses or objects are the best sources in fire making best techniques. Modern matches containing wooden strings and with a coating of sulfur and potassium is now the easiest and the most popular fire making techniques is present in the wood is the this has percolated even to the existing primitive societies dwellings. Shelter is an habitation has been also one of the primary needs of man. They have a very physical survival of the man depends upon shelter right from the Paleolithic times, and types of nature and the nature of the housing were related to the local environmental factors that includes the availability of raw materials for a man and made shelter. Initially, man used the nature for made shelters like rock shelters, cave shelter, bushes, trees. Gradually, he developed skills to fabricate the dwellings himself, and the man, in many cases, the type of dwelling became a mark of identification of a particular people. Even today, the people of Tundra, Alaska, live in a snow-made and snow-made houses protected the leather coverings. The tribes of Tanganyika and the Pueblo of the Arizona and the primitive groups of southern China lived under the grounds in pits, while the Vedas of Sri Lanka and the Bushmen of the Africa and the Cholanakan of India lives in the caves, and the Vedunis of the Arabia live in the tents, and the while the Tung and the Yagaki Siberia live in temporary wind protective dwellings. Since a house serves the three purposes like dwelling, working, and storing, people of the world, primitive as well as modern, have been striving to get a house fulfill their requirements. All human groups have been making the houses according to the local requirements based on the locally available resources. Thus, we found mainly four types of houses: rock, shelter, caves, hilly slopes, and the huts and the snow houses. And during the whole of the Paleolithic, man had to face the major climatic fluctuations in the form of a great ice age. Rock shelters and caves were used naturalized during the glaciations. Moreover, the archaeological remains found in the many rock shelters, caves in the world here a testimony to this fact. Some of the tribes still having like caves that already being mentioned. Dwellings of hilly slopes have also been popular in the several parts of the world. People inhabiting the geographical regions have always found in the hilly slopes full of bushes and the vegetation secured places to live. And the Pueblo Indians of North America have traditionally lived in such conditions that they called it masa. Several groups of Indians in Nepal living in such hilly areas they use the hilly slopes of the dwellings. The history of the antiquity of the huts and permanent dwellings go back to the last phase of Mesolithic or early phase of Neolithic when the man was beginning to adopt sedentary life. Since then, man had been giving many types of huts, whether in dense forest banks or rivers, lakes, marshy lands, or other geographical conditions. One of the fast diminishing types of huts is the wind blowing types, and in order to make such a hut, wooden bamboo and poles and set a to semicircle, then connected to the skins, leaves, and the barks. The owner and the base and they use the type of shed hut during the summers. The conical type and the dome hut is found in among the Lab and the Eskimo and the Korea of the India. So rectangular type of the ceiling of the wooden frame is popular throughout the world, and the todas and the half barrel shaped hut is novelty. So besides the above mentioned hut types of huts are also built on the trees to provide protection against the wild animals. Such tree dwellings were stuck in the Bogue Central Asia, especially among the Korwa tribe. And the lake dwellings was also been a popular type of this pile dwellings, which are while huts made over the piles of wooden logs, and while the pit dwellings in which man used to live deep pits covered over the mouth, and the provisions of staircase has almost become a thing of the past. Now the most popular type of the hut is the thatched hut is usually rectangular. The snow house and Eskimos have been popular has been become synonymous and is called the igloo now gone. Some innovations have been introduced within separate chambers and leather coverings, and the mountaineers also make houses during their expeditions. And thus, we also see that we have moved far away from this earliest Neolithic dwellings, and we are, with the help of the latest technology, in a position to make a most comfortable and land luxurious houses. Getting a roof over the head of every family is stable and dream of many parts of the world. Transport, mobility has also been an integral feature of the gamut and the gamut of the human activities, and the moving from place to place, exploring avenues of good and fruits and other means of travel may be regarded as the basic and most popular reason of mobility. Man is the only animal that uses man is the only animal that used the other animals for carrying with his goods. Until the Mesolithic period, man could not learn how to use the other animals as the beast of the burden. But since the Neolithic period onwards, man learned the art of the domestication of animals and continuously been harnessing the energy and many multiple animals and various economic activities, including transport. It is difficult to trace back that exact origin and history or the practice correct of using beast of the burdens and considered a fairly convincing and plausible theory, and that is might have the commenced as a result of the getting hold of the live animals and the hunting expeditions. Perhaps such mammals must be have trained acclimatized and to obey the command of the decades. Many of men also used to be right against such animals for safety of the goods as well as avoid the drudgery of the walking over the long distance of the difficult geographical terrains. Crossing rivers was also another great hurdle, and thus surface as well as water transport are equally important. But today, the restless spirit of the man, the eternal explorer, him defies the obstacles. He can traverse along the most difficult terrains, including the dense forests and the marshy areas of food. Whenever you can see that sophisticated and highly speed cars, luxurious pits, and the rectangular marvel like supersonic jet, we must not get forward about the means of transport. Men evolved earlier, many of them being still in vogue among the simple societies throughout the world. Right from the prehistoric times, they had learned about how to transport his luggage lightly and conveniently, dividing a load into the two parts of the flexible bamboo and the rod being carried over the shoulders, and the head wing of the ancient practice in the backs of flax and the fibers as well as leather used to carry, and also an old practice use of dogs in a pulling sledge cart without wheels over icy surfaces is still in the vogue among the Eskimos, and the harnessing the buffaloes and the ponies, elephants, etc. plains and camels and the desert regions, and the mammals like reindeers, the yaks in the cold and mountain areas has been the lot helped a lot. So the invention of wheeled evolution was also whole concept of the transport and the human mobility in increased manifold, and the animal energy could be harnessed for better and more productive results. Perhaps the wheel was used first in the Mesopotamia, and when wheel became a part of a transport and the wheel transport carts were adopted, then these were first pulled by the men, and later on the study and mammals were employed for their main purpose. Initial tools were used to, and that was proved to accommodate four wheels. The spoke wheels, but later innovation wheel was still crucial even with the most sophisticated industrial technology. The Peruvian Indians of the Americans, the Boche of the Himalayas, Uttar Pradesh used yak for transport, while Eskimos of the plain Indians of America now use dogs. The Khazars of the Central Asia were used horses. Southwestern Asian tribes and Indian tribes inhabiting deserts area use camels, while the Nuts and Gujar for the North India of nomadic group use buffaloes and beasts of burden. So the archaeological remains of the Indus Valley civilization indicates that the use of camels for transport was in the vogue even 4500 years BC. So rivers and the seas and the two could not be proved to be invincible barriers even among the primitive societies. And swimming is the oldest means of water transport. The floating logs of the wood might have shown the main pay of the device, boats and canoes, and artists used to be perhaps a raft which is trying to be three pieces of wood strung and logs in several societies. Still in the woods, Bengal is a good example, and the Bengal the deserts, the rafts made in the bundles of the wooden or the bamboo sticks, and they usually met the marshy land and shallow pools. Some of the most well-known vessels built of the primitive man and commerce and Andamanese, and they are usually dug out the shallow and the ducks open one of the both ends. So outriggers, yet another novel way of the water transport. Outriggers are nothing but a balancing pole. A pole is let down into water over distance from a boat and connected with the boat proper. Sometimes what happens, the two outriggers known as the double outriggers are found to those and function to balance a whole system. This represents the highest technical achievement of primitive boat buildings. The built boats are also different varieties. Two types of boats are quite popular among the fishermen of Bengal, and the Jabi Dinki and the Bachri. And the by the first in the small boat was a hollow inside. The Bachri was a big boat and the made on the same principle. A small cover of the shed is provided at the side of the helm, and two men sit on the extreme ends of the playing the boat. And through the and though the mankind has moved very far in the world of the water transport, luxury ships being the best example of the sight of the boats and canoes in the less technologies and developed regions of the world. It is a constant reminder of the great technological evolution. Clothing and adornment, the self-defense and the self-preservation of against day-to-day hazards of the life, one of the basic instincts of the man, and the uncertainties of the vagaries of the nature, bitter and cold, and searching and the heat and the heavy downpour and the hazards from predators, mammals and poisonous insects, reptiles have always posed a lot of problems for men. The order of to avoid the artist himself in such hazardous uncertainties of life, man evolved the ways to protect the body related to decorative sense, sensual, aesthetic, pleasure. So clothing the man has a rightly Man is writing been described as a naked ape of the scholars and like Dennis Morris, and his skin was almost devoid of a dairy cover, and like many other animals. Naturally, man is a more vulnerable to all sorts of the natural hazards. Hence, developed the idea of the clothing. It is not a correct assessment that clothing has was developed to man out of his feeling of modesty or shyness. This is a secondary factor for production of delicate of the parts of the body, electrically damaged and reproductive organs with primary concern. However, it is viewed that totality of the following factors may be assigned to adaptation of practice of clothing. First, the production of from difficult climate. Second, the sense of modesty. Third, the enhancement of personal beauty. Fourth, the maintenance of separate identity of one's. Fifth one is the enhancement of enhancement of good looks and the sexual attraction. Sixth one is the production from evil spirits. So, of all the above mentioned factors, production from the difficult and the hostile climate seems to be a prime motive for the development of clothing. Besides, when communication was difficult, the human groups located at distance from each other and then did not meet each other. Subsequently, the respective dress patterns became their culturally distinct identity, and men stuck to them. So, to make oneself presentable for the feeling of shyness, modesty have to come, and only after they had started wearing the clothes, because the clothing made him aware of the nudity, and the primitive tribal groups with the territorial fugo and the Brazil had their women folk inclusive do not feel shy in the coming of the naked before even strangers. But if they are not wearing their traditional items or bamboo, they were used to add the feeling of shyness and modesty in the exposure of one's body is not an instinct but the practice, the produce of a cultural training and the socialization. Before the advent of the cotton and its use in making the cloths and grass and leather and barks and leaves of trees, etc., so they were used to cover and the breast and the genital organs, and the coverings vary from region to region because of climatic variation. Interestingly, but on independently, man's capacity to adjust to adopt himself in the process of the immunization in the face of the difficult climate is also responsible to his dependent behavior. For example, the Oha tribes may be seen hunting on the ice without any clothing, and the productiveness in many tropical countries, people may be seen covering their heads with the caps and the turbans. Many human groups in North America, North Japan, and the Eastern Siberian, especially have shoes that are protected from rains. People from Kashmir and the other mountainous regions, such as woolen shoes, while traveling on the ice, and these types of short and also reason of the use of leather should around their feet and the production of heat and insect bite. And then now most of the Indians and tribes near wear cotton clothes, but those who have come into the intimate and the contribute in the modern civilization are also using synthetic clothing. Adornment, they desire to look good and attractive as a decoration of not the exclusive feature of the man. It is shared by the some other animals to the right from the prehistoric period. The man has become decorating his body and to look beautiful and attractive. The criteria is very beautiful that definitely vary from society to society, and that looks that beside different types of clothing, man has been using paintings, tattooing, and scarification, and the meditation, deforming ornaments, and dwelling of the purpose. So painting is the body is considered the oldest method of the personal development, and they still practice in many primitive societies of the world. It is more sophisticated. It's almost the remaining societies lipstick and the nail polish painting of the feet of some of the examples. During the prehistoric times, very shades of the oak and the vegetable colors used to paint and decorate the human body. Sometimes the painting the bodies with the lotion is more Reading Vashi is a very more for the protection against the bites of from the purpose of adornment. So this is most common true that the case of these societies, the whole remained essentially clad, and the primitive types of Andaman Nicobar Islands are a good example of protecting the paintings. They used a mixture of local soil and extraction of some medicinal plants, and such as a lotion of protection from mosquito poison, insect bites. So Santhas and who and around of the Bihar part various parts of their bodies, and the rainbow colors are occasions of fair and festivals. In the Palian and the Pulian tribes of South Indian paint over face to the certain religious occasions. The tribes of North America paint their back and the hands foreheads with the pictures of lions, the peacocks, visions. Besides the protection against the insect bite and adornment of sexual attraction, painting is done, and amongst the many societies for fighting the enemies in the first sign of the morning. The practice of the tattooing is perhaps as old as painting. Interestingly, the practice of is prevalent as a primitive as well as a modern society. Different motives are attributed behind the practice of tattooing, like the enhancement of beauty and sexual attraction, health, sign of identification, toward for the evil spirits of the perhaps except the pupils of the eyes. Tattooing many of them almost a part of the body, most favorite parts of the forehead, nose, arms, and chest. Among some groups, tattooing may be done as a specialist of the same group, and during the fairs and festivals when professional against some payment. Initially, tattooing was done without through pointed bones and the birds and the fishes and other animals, and the later iron needles when now one comes across the mechanism devices with the purpose. Some of the popular signs and designs of tattooing found among the Indian tribes and other rural peoples are floral designs and snakes and flowers, fishes and combo sometimes simply means the pictures of lions, lords, swords, and the gods and the goddesses especially. So Hanumans are also the favorite of the tribes of the northern central India, and significantly the tattooing are the most followed among the fair skinned people that barely look more pronounced. Another practice was the practicing the scarification. It is a more popular among the relatively dark skinned people. A popular technique of the scarification is about among several primitive societies in the infinite wound of the desired spot of the body and disabling that fat and the charcoal of any other material during a durable coloring. In the way of the scar remaining and after the healing of the wound, scarification is the most popular among the tribes of Africa and Australia. And some of the very popular motive behind the practice are its used to tribal marks, remedy of illness, prophylactic chance to show the number of children one of the given as a bird to record the number of enemies slain and the morning tokens. In the zeal of the look better and the more attractive to the to propitiate and some supernatural powers are also restored to the mutilation and deformation. This may be described as a primitive way of the modifying the body of the person, adornment, piercing of the nose and ears, the most popular practice among the Indian tribes as well as the non-tribal societies. Some people disfigure their lips and some resort to the cranial deformities, and while some other remove some of their front incisors to a more beautiful. In his process, many suffer from beauty. The practice of the circumcision among the Jews in the many tribal communities may be cities as an example of the meditation mutilation for ritual and the hygienic reasons. Among some tribes like the Jiangs and the India and the tribes of New Guinea and the Maoris of the New Zealand, of women's genitals are mutilated for making them and more sensitive, and the rise of men's penis was also to increase through the mutilation. In the attempt to make them virile and the productive, and the mutilation deformities of genitals are resorted to several other varieties for a part of initiation right of the time of the puberty and adulthood. Ornaments are one of the most popular and the oldest way to personal adornment. Now we have in our possession evidences to prove the practice of wearing ornaments of jewelry and go to back definitely middle Paleolithic period for Paleolithic times. In the early stage of some vital parts of animals, birds were used to among the sea and shells and bones and horse for making ornaments, leaves and the flowers are used to make a personal decorations. Popular motives behind the ornamentation is to prophylactic against the evil spirits, improve the personal appearance to attract the opposite sex through the enhancement of sexual appeal. Many anthropologists are of the view of the few of the ferocious animals that award to the evil spirits of the prime motive behind the ornamentation and living of the mindset of the nature of the must had observed with the lion of a tiger teeth and the claws with the crucial deers with the mobility and the was related to the hoofs and the bird's flight and the hingo and so on. So he began to preserve the nails and the teeth of the lion and the tigers of hoofs of the weight swift animals and feather of such birds. So later we have made them into ornaments, started wearing them. Many of the primitive tribes still live in a nude, but they may not have been seen without their ornaments like a necklace of teeth and the nails or the shells of broccoli of the bones of the bamboo and the similar such objects, and the Australian Origines and the use of teeth of kangaroo, the Melanese shells of the beads and the types of the Chotanagpur region in India. So pieces of the colored stones and different types of sheets as ornaments, and the Korakli of the Madhya Pradesh make beautiful ornaments of grass and use them as special occasions. And the use of ornaments and jewelry is not related with the custom traditional respective societies. No marriage is solemnized among the Hindus, Muslim, and India without ornaments. At the same, the use of bangles, nose rings, etc. are prohibited in the widows. And many human activities are related to the use of ornaments. Here, the chapter is completed. We start our next chapter. That's the next section. It's hive and peasantry. This is started chapter number 12. So we'll start it further. Thank you so much for liking the video. Please like, share, subscribe my channel, and please comment if you want any information. Thank you so much.